So what actually happened at Vestis today? I'm getting reports from a couple different market center from employees that were just recently let go, and some of them that haven't been let go, that anywhere between 50 and 90% of employees, or I say account executives, I should say, were let go today. One market center told me that 100% of all their salespeople were let go today. One market center that controlled 2 different areas. And so it's a sad, sad story. These employees were saying that, hey, we were at 200% of our quota. We were making our numbers. And so one naturally has to ask that question, right? If I'm making my numbers, why am I being treated this way? How were they treated? Well, for some market centers, for the ones that didn't report in personally, there was a Teams meeting, and the people were let go on a Teams meeting. It was basically, give us your credit card, give us your gas card, your files, your laptop, and you got to leave the building now. Apparently, it was a script that was read from, and it was done in a wrong way. One person described it this way. They said it was all apathy and no empathy. It's a sad, sad thing when things like that happen. But sometimes when companies are so far behind the 8 ball, so entrenched in debt, it's a necessary evil. Because if they want to survive, they have to do things a certain way. You guys have heard that old adage that says, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. And so obviously Vestis had to do something different. Before I talk about why this is happening, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you get more updates on what actually is going on with not only Vestis but other companies and within the industry. So why is it happening? Understand that the old Aramark and Vestis, there was always been this type of a fight within the organization. You know, the salespeople saying, we're going to save the company, we're going to make the company win. And it was a customer service would fight too, saying, no, we're going to do it. And as they switched back and forth between CEOs and different strategies of the company, the same thing is playing out today. We're seeing it play out right before our very eyes. The struggle continues. Vestis was selling bar mops for 2 cents at a particular time, and then it was raised to 6 cents. That is completely unsustainable. I would call that a huge loss leader. Ultimately, what would happen in that case is the customers are going to complain, and you're going to basically doing, it's called a bait and switch, in my opinion. Customers wouldn't stand for it. It wouldn't be conducive to having good customer service. Kim Scott had of her old plan to do customer service. That was in their old plan, but apparently, from what I've seen and what other people have told me, it was all lip service. The new CEO, Jim Barber, while still focusing on sales due to the recent sales push they had, he might be moving in the direction of improving customer service, which would be a good thing. However, improving customer service will be hard because your cash flow is hurting, and they're still reeling from that $10 million payout that Kim Scott got. But however, there is bright news on the other side. Company insiders have purchased 3.7 million shares. I did a recent Google search, and that's what I found this year alone. And Kim Scott still hasn't sold her shares. And so there's a good reason, in my opinion, on why they are holding on to their shares. Personally, I believe they're not sticking around because Vestis has hefty dividends or because they're good in long-term and short-term prospects for Vestis. I believe they're sticking around because they anticipate a future sale of the company. Now, I could be wrong. It could just be to cure a cash flow problem, or it could be an aggressive restructuring plan, but these are my personal opinions. I will tell you that I do own 300 shares of Vestis that I purchased around $6. I don't have any financial advice. Time will tell what happens with Vestis, but until the next video, guys, do your due diligence on everything you've heard from me today, and I'll see you on the next video.